Hello and welcome to Mouse in the Mitten Trivia Pod, a podcast where you can test your Disney trivia knowledge over a variety of topics. My name's Court and I will be your host. Our game will consist of 5 rounds of 6 questions covering everything from your basic Disney knowledge to some unknown facts. Each question is worth 1 point unless otherwise noted. Make sure you follow us on social media at Mouse in the Mitten on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications, give us a thumbs up, and of course, in the comments down below, let us know what your score is. And hey, I know planning a Disney vacation can seem stressful. I would love to be able to help you out, take some of the stress away, and be able to make sure that your vacation is the most magical vacation that it possibly can be. To be able to get a hold of me, to be able to kind of start planning this vacation, feel free to email me at mouseinthemitten@gmail.com. Well, some big news came Sunday, and that is when Tiana's Bayou Adventure is officially opening in Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World, and that is June 28th, which makes me very excited because I'm going in August, so that means it will be open by the time I go there. So I'm super excited. But round 1, we're going to pay homage to the OG. And round 1 is titled Space Mountain. Today I have my Mountain Man shirt on. And one of those mountains, as we talked about last week, is Splash Mountain. So let's get started. And all these questions are about Splash Mountain. So question number 1. Within 2, what year did the first Splash Mountain open in Disneyland? Question number 2. Within 3, how tall is the largest drop in Splash Mountain? Question number 3. Name the only park outside of the US to have their own Splash Mountain. Question number 4. What Disney movie is the original Splash Mountain themed after? Question number 5. How Do You Do was a song recorded for Splash Mountain by what Oregon-based band? And question number 6. Name the legendary Imagineer who thought of the idea for Splash Mountain. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with those answers, and then I will return. All right, let's get you some answers here on Splash Mountain. So question number 1. Within 2, what year did the first Splash Mountain open in Disneyland? Well, that was July 17, 1989. So in order to get the point there, what it had to say between 1987 and 1991. And as we kind of talked about last week in the connecting the circles round, yeah, at the time there was a movie that had recently come out with Tom Hanks called Splash. Were they thinking about doing a cross-promotional thing? They did. Did they eventually do that? No. I think that was the right call. Question number 2. Within 3, how tall is the largest drop in Splash Mountain? Well, the drop is 52.5 feet. So in order to get the point there, what it had to say between 49.5 and 55.5 feet. And yeah, that is a pretty decent little drop there. You also get up to 45 miles per hour, which makes it one of the fastest rides in Disney as well. But again, it's just for a brief time. You are literally falling for less than 2 seconds, but I tell you what, when you're in that fall, it feels longer, but it's oh so much fun. Question number 3. Name the only park outside the US to have their own Splash Mountain. Well, that is Tokyo Disneyland, and I believe it's still themed to the original theme. They haven't switched it over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure yet. I think it will eventually, but Tokyo's getting all the good stuff right now. So they can hold off on Tiana for a little bit. They're getting all the cool stuff right now, so it makes me and my wife really want to go over there. Question number 4. What Disney movie is the original Splash Mountain themed after? That is Song of the South. Now, there are many things that Song of the South is known for. We're going to focus on the positive one, and that is, of course, the theming for the original Splash Mountain, as well as Zippity Doo Dah, Zippity Yay, and some of the other music that we heard throughout the ride as well. So, that we're gonna stay on the positive side for that movie. Question number 5. How Do You Do was a song recorded for Splash Mountain by what Oregon-based band? Well, that is the Floozies. That's the whole How Do You Do, ba-da-da-da-da-da, as you're kind of like, after you kind of did the first little drop, as you're kind of going through the open area. It's one of the first songs that you hear, and that is the Floozies from out of Oregon. I can't name you another single song, but apparently it's a 29-member group. So they play instruments, they sing, they sound really good while on a log flume ride about a rabbit and some foxes and a bear. So, yeah. Last but not least, question number 6. Name the legendary Imagineer who thought of the idea for Splash Mountain. Well, that would be Tony Baxter. He's done a lot. He has his fingerprints all over Disney World, Disneyland, and all the parks around the world. Splash Mountain was his idea. The way that his story goes, he was driving home from work one night, and he just had this idea for a log flume ride, and that's what eventually started the wheels turning and eventually led to the creation of Splash Mountain. So I'm glad the ride's sticking around. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. I have a feeling that Almost There is going to be a part of it because in the promo, you had the band playing Almost There. So clearly that's going to be in there somewhere. I can't wait for it to open, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. And I cannot wait to ride it for the first time as Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Continuing on now into round number 2. Round number 2 is our Fast Facts round. This round is filled with simple questions that have simple answers. Today's category is Song with a Ride. For this round, what's going to happen is I'm going to name a song. You're going to tell me what Disney ride goes with that song. Oftentimes, there's a song associated with a ride. Hopefully, some of these you'll be able to knock right out of the park. So let's start with question number 1. Zippity Doo-Dah. Question number 2. Grim Grinning Ghosts. Question number 3. Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. Question number 4. One Little Spark. Question number 5. Nothing Can Stop Us Now. And question number 6. Hapa Dunai. All right, let's get some answers here and see if we can hit some of these out of the park and have a little bit of fun at the same time, maybe jogging some classic memories. So question number 1. Zippity Doo-Dah, that is of course Splash Mountain. I talked about that in the last question. That is the big kind of celebration scene at the end. You got chickens dancing on the riverboat, everything else like that, doing a little zippity doo-dah, zippity-a. So yeah, that one is associated with Splash Mountain. Like I said, I'm going to be interested to see what that final song is going to be. Is it going to be down in New Orleans? Is it going to be Almost There? I'm going to be interested. Is it going to be something completely original? We're going to have to wait and see. We're only about a month away from finding out. Question number 2. Grim Grinning Ghosts. That is, of course, the Haunted Mansion. We're talking about Grim Grinning Ghosts come out to socialize. Yeah, that's, of course, going through the graveyard, everything else like that. One of the highlights of Haunted Mansion for sure. Question number 3. Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. That is the Carousel of Progress. The best place to take a little nap while you're in the parks. Just hop in there. It's air conditioned. It's cool. It's a slow turning ride, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. But it's a good place for a nice little nap. And it's always fun. And of course, you have Here's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. Plus, it's the one in Disney World is the only ride that we can for sure say Walt saw and was part of. So that's one of my favorite parts about it as well. Question number 4. One Little Spark. Well, of course, that is Journey into Imagination with Figment. If you had said Figment Imagination, something to that effect, give yourself the point there. And just a fun ride. Again, a good one. If you can get past the smelling portion of it, it's a good one too. Again, just kind of relax. Question number 5. Nothing Can Stop Us Now. That is, of course, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And that is one of the newer songs that is on this list. That is a fun song that I think they did a great job of tying it in to the ride. It was a lot of fun, and it's just fun overall. That's one of my favorite new rides, just because of all the ways that they do different tricks and that sort of stuff. It's just a lot of fun. Last but not least, question number 6. Hapa Dunahi. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it is from Kilimanjaro Safari. Now, this is an old one. They once in a while still play this. You hear it once in a while when you're roaming around Animal Kingdom, but that was the song that was for Kilimanjaro Safari. So a little fun there. Hopefully, again, some of these songs jog some memories for you, and again, makes you really want to go back to the parks just to hear some of these again, even if they're not around. At least hear them in your mind. Continuing on now with round number 3. Round number 3 is connecting the circles. For this round, I'm going to give you 5 questions that may or may not be Disney related, but the answers do connect some way through Disney. And that's going to be your 6th question, is what is the connection? Now, today's round is going to be a little bit different, because what's going to happen here is I'm going to give you a summary of a movie, and you just have to name the movie, and all these movies are Disney movies. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. These are summaries that I've written myself based on the movie. So let's have fun and get started with question number 1. Summary. Bunny thinks that they can be a cop in a big city. Name that movie. Question number 2. Summary. Boy is not a wild animal, but a bear certainly tries to show him how to live, and he can somehow communicate with them in English. Name that movie. Question number 3. Summary. Girl tries to find her parents and ends up in an aquarium with an acrophobia octopus who wants to get out. Name that movie. Question number 4. Summary. Girl wants to be the opposite of Ariel because she wants to be in the water to help find fish. Name that movie. Question number 5. Summary. Strange Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp. Also, woman returns from a trip and is forced to give up the family business and instead ends up in a wonderland. Name that movie. And question number 6 is, what is the connection? I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, see if you can connect those circles, and then I will return. All right, let's see if we can connect those circles. So question number 1. Summary. Bunny thinks that they could be a cop in a big city. Name that movie. We are, of course, talking about Zootopia. Judy Hopps thinks that she can be a cop in Zootopia, which is supposed to be like New York, and just all the things that follow after that. It's a really fun story. Question number 2. Summary. Boy is not a wild animal, but a bear certainly tries to show him how to live, and he can somehow communicate with them in English. Name that movie. That is The Jungle Book. We're talking about Mowgli and how he can communicate with Baloo and all the other animals. They all speak English somehow. I don't know, but it's very, very interesting. I bet you were probably thinking, boy thinks he's a wild animal. You might have thought Tarzan, but once you talked about a bear and everything else like that, hopefully you're able to put 2 and 2 together. Question number 3. Summary. Girl tries to find her parents and ends up in an aquarium with an acrophobia octopus who wants to get out. Name that movie. That is Finding Dory. We're talking about how she made her way to the aquarium and how that's where she thought her parents were because that's where she was from, and that's how she learned how to talk to whales, and that's where she learned all these other sort of things. And come to find out, her parents aren't actually there anymore. Sigourney Weaver's involved as the voice of the aquarium. It's a very interesting movie. It definitely was not one of Pixar's finest. Question number 4. Summary. Girl tries to be the opposite of Ariel because she wants to be in the water to help find fish. Name that movie. That is Moana. Now, because my daughter loves Moana, I've seen this movie more times than I can count at this point. I'm keeping track of it on my phone. So I could have gone a lot of different directions with this one. I figured that one was the one that made the most sense, while at the same time being a little bit difficult. Question number 5. Summary: strange Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp. Also, a woman returns from a trip and is forced to give up the family business and instead ends up in a wonderland. Name that movie. Hopefully that wonderland was the key there. That is Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, of course, if I had said a Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp, I mean, the list is endless. There are no less than 500 films with these two, but hopefully being able to put those two and two together, where Johnny Depp plays the Mad Hatter, he's gone especially mad, and Alice has to try to figure everything out. That is Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's more closely related to the book than the first one. So we had answers such as Zootopia, Jungle Book, Finding Dory, Moana, and Alice Through the Looking Glass. The connection there, all those movies were released in 2016. So like I said, these all are Disney movies. They are all Disney movies, and they all came out in the exact same year, 2016. So hopefully you're able to put that connection together. Moana is the most streamed movie, has been for the last couple years. Hence the reason why they feel like they need to come out with a second one, because I think 2 of the last 3 years it's been the most streamed movie. Frozen was right behind it. So it makes sense that they're trying to make more of these movies to try to keep people coming back to Disney Plus. So all those movies came out in 2016. There were a couple other ones, but these were definitely the highlights of 2016. Continuing on now into round number 4. Round number 4 is traditionally held for our movie anniversaries, and today that one is still true. Now, we could have gone a couple of different ways with this one, but I figured let's start where the trilogy second round began, and that's with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So like I said, this was the second part of the trilogy. The first trilogy for Star Wars, obviously 4, 5, and 6. Now we're talking about 1, 2, and 3. We're going to start out with just The Phantom Menace, have a little bit of fun with it as well. So let's get started with question number 1. Within 2, what year did The Phantom Menace premiere in the US? Question number 2. What Gangon from Naboo quickly became one of the most annoying creatures from Episode 1? Question number 3. What Taken actor plays the lead role of Qui-Gon Jinn? Question number 4. Name any of the 3 directors that were approached to do Episode 1, but convinced George Lucas to be the director instead. Question number 5. What desert was part of the Phantom Menace filmed in? And question number 6. In The Phantom Menace, Mace Windu refuses to train Anakin. Who played Mace Windu? All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with those answers, and then I will return with those answers. Let's get you some answers here on The Phantom Menace. And if you've learned anything, names are hard for me. So let's get started with question number 1. Within 2, what year did The Phantom Menace premiere in the US? Well, it premiered on May 19th, 1999. So in order to get the point there, what it had to say between 1997 and 2001. It had been 16 years since the last Star Wars movie came out, and fans were definitely excited for this one. This is still one of the highest grossing movies of all time, grossing over $1 billion. Question number 2. What Gangon from Naboo quickly became one of the most annoying creatures from Episode 1? Well, that is Jar Jar Binks. Now, has Jar Jar Binks appeared in other shows and that sort of stuff? Yes, but right where he needed to be, in the background and not saying a single word. When I was younger, Yes, Jar Jar Binks was cool. That Misa Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, that was really funny when I was younger. And now that I'm older, it's super annoying. I guess they got the younger crowd in with that, and now we're all hooked. So it is what it is. Question number 3. What Taken actor played the lead role of Qui-Gon Jinn? Well, that is Liam Neeson. Now, he's come back. He's reprised that role a couple different times in a couple different ways, but definitely a great choice for this role. He did a phenomenal job. Probably one of the highlights of The Phantom Menace. Question number 4. Name any of the 3 directors that were approached to do episode 1, but convinced George Lucas to be the director instead. So in order to get the point there, would have had to say either Robert Zemeckis, Ron Howard, or Steven Spielberg. Apparently, George Lucas approached all 3 of them at some point. They all 3 turned down and convinced him, like, hey, for a project like this, there's only one person, and that's the person with the vision for this, and that's you. So George Lucas ended up directing this, and we saw a really good end product. Question number 5. What desert was part of the Phantom Menace filmed in? Well, that was the Tunisian desert, and it definitely has that look. There are some scenes where they did a great job with that. They've gone back to that one since and provided a lot of really good scenes for it. Last but not least, question number 6. In The Phantom Menace, Mace Windu refuses to train Anakin. Who is Mace Windu? That is Samuel L. Jackson. That is his first role in the Star Wars. And tell you what, when you go back and look at him and then see him now, he definitely has aged very gracefully. Now, we did episode 1 today. Does that mean we do episode 2 next week? Maybe. Does that mean we do it next? No, we're not doing this next. I can tell you that no, it's not. This is all the Star Wars from today, but we might be doing episode 2 and or 3 here coming up real soon. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Wrapping up today's game, round 5 is simply titled Disney Mania, and we're going to go with the original Disney Mania album. For those of you who were late 90s, early 2000s Disney fans, this is going to bring back a lot of nostalgia and a lot of really cool memories. So here's what this round will entitle. I'm going to say the name of a song. I am also going to give a brief synopsis of the group or the person who sang that song. You just have to simply say, who is the artist? So let's get started with question number 1. When You Wish Upon a Star, boy band based in Orlando who use their name to form their group name. Question number 2. You'll Be in My Heart just did the Super Bowl halftime show. Question number 3. Part of Your World? Still wondering if Chicken of the Sea is chicken. Question number 4. Hakuna Matata. Probably still wondering how to get the dogs back in. Question number 5. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Best music group to have a TV show ever? And question number 6. I Want to Be Like You. Still wondering how they survived walking on a star. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, and then we will return to wrap up today's game. Let's get started and let's talk about some Disney Mania classics here. So question number 1. When You Wish Upon a Star, boy band based in Orlando who use their name to form their group name? Well, that would be In Sync. Obviously, they all use the last letter of their first names to form In Sync, and that's how they got the name. They're based out of Orlando. Obviously, JC and Justin were part of the Mickey Mouse Club, everything else like that. So fun little connection there with Disney, and definitely so many good memories with In Sync. Question number 2. You'll Be in My Heart just did the Super Bowl halftime show. That is Usher. Yeah, he's been around for a long, long time, and he just did the Super Bowl halftime show. He also covered You'll Be in My Heart. Question number 3. Part of your world? Still wondering if Chicken of the Sea is chicken? I guess I could add ex-husband is currently one of the hosts of Netflix's hottest dating show, Love is Blind. That is Jessica Simpson. Yeah, she had that iconic quote of, is chicken from the sea really chicken? I still think that that was a line given to her by a writer or producer. There's no way that someone, I mean, it's tuna. Everyone knows it's tuna, right? I hope, please. I hope. Question number 4. Hakuna Matata? Probably still wondering how to get the dogs back in. We're talking about the Baha Men because, they came up with the song Who Let the Dogs Out. So, who's trying to get the dogs back in. But yeah, they sang Hakuna Matata, did a cool little cover of it too. They really used their 10 minutes of fame from a group that had been around for at least 20 years at that point and really tried to run with it. And I give them credit for trying to take advantage of it. They did a great job of trying to market themselves, try to really advance their careers. Unfortunately, nothing else has really stuck. Question number 5. Can you feel the love tonight? Best music group to have a TV show ever? Maybe? I don't know. S Club 7. That is a group that sang Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Group of 7 kids from England. They had 2 different stints on TV shows on ABC Family. I distinctly remember them. I think each season only lasted for like a year. Basically, it was them in the U.S. trying to make it, putting them in all these different scenarios. It wasn't great, but I distinctly remember those shows. Last but not least, question number 6. I want to be like you. Still wondering how they survived Walking on a Star. That is Smash Mouth, of course, with the song Walking on the Sun. That's why I was kind of alluding to there. But again, if you looked at this list, this is just the tip of the iceberg from the very first Disney Mania. Christina Aguilera's on there. Ashanti is on there. Anastasia's on there. There's so many classic late 90s, early 2000s group. It brings back all the nostalgia. It is so fun to listen to, and they do have a lot more of these that have come out since, so we might see this round again sometime in the future. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in this week. I will return next Thursday with more questions and more fun. If you're listening to us on Apple, make sure you follow us. If you're listening to us anywhere else, make sure you download and subscribe. If you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications, give us a thumbs up, and of course, comment with your score down below. And if you would love to, we would love to see you follow us on social media at Mouse in the Mitten on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Look for tips and tricks on how to make your Disney vacation a fantastic trip. Now, again, I know that planning a Disney vacation can be daunting. Seems like there's a lot and it can make things seem a little bit overwhelming. Well, I would love to be able to help you out and make sure that your trip goes as smoothly as possible and make sure it is as magical as possible. You can email me at mouseinthemitten@gmail.com and we get you all taken care of. Well, my name's Court. The dog's name is Milo. I appreciate you tuning in this week, and I will see you next time.